Hi everyone and welcome to my place. Look at this. This is stephanotis, and all of my life as a floral designer, every single garden, doesn't matter where I live here in New Zealand, I have always grown stephanotis. I absolutely love it. And when I was living as a young trainee florist, we lived in Invercargill, and this used to grow on a wall in the greenhouse or the hothouse, and honestly, every time I walked in there, I could not believe how beautiful the fragrance was. So I've got it growing outside and it's very, very nice. Now I want to show you how to incorporate beautiful little fresh forms like this and the lilies into an easy handheld bouquet with some lilac. And for those of you who don't know about lilac, it's a beautiful flower, but you know what? In a bouquet, it doesn't actually maintain its beautifulness. Sometimes it gets a little bit of droop on it. So I always like to use the artificial. And when you put the fresh with it, you know what? It looks gorgeous. And with a trailing bouquet, what invariably happens is you've got this beautiful gown on, these beautiful flowers. And then I've seen the bride like swinging it around, you know, she goes to do something and that beautiful trail just gets whacked against a wall, or she goes into the car and it gets whacked against the side of the car. So sometimes cheating the process just makes your life as a designer much easier. The other thing I want to incorporate are the peonies, and I must just share with you, it's just terrible with what's happening with COVID. And I did a symposium not so long ago, and I was listening to the growers worldwide and what they were saying about how scarce fresh flowers are becoming on the market. And I did manage to get a few fresh ones here in the market, but a lot of growers here in New Zealand didn't do any growing or picking this year because they couldn't get the staff and they couldn't get the air freight. And at the symposium, what I was told is that most of the flower growers around the world send all of their flowers into the Netherlands, and from the Netherlands they get shipped worldwide. So you'll understand why I'm a little bit upset about the fact that there is a global shortage of flowers. But it's okay because you can use the artificial and then you can incorporate some fresh. Now, these have all got their long stems, and when you see this, I've just picked this, so I've got no stem. And the way that I can manipulate how to use this fresh stem in with these long stems is a little trick that's just fantastic. It's called wiring and mossing. Moss means it's going to get some moisture to the wire, is going to give me the length, which is going to mean that it's easy for me to manipulate and put no stem in amongst the flowers. Okay, so what you need to do is make sure that you've got a nice slant cut here. Get your piece of wire, and I usually use about a 20 gauge because it just means that I've got a little bit of support. Now that goes through, take that up about 2 inches and bring that down the stem so that you now have this long stem, and you've got a little bit of I call that little prong there. Now the next to go into there is, because I want it to last, I'm going to use a little bit of cotton wool, just a little bit of soaked cotton wool like so, and then that I'm just going to wrap around that stem. You actually need a bit more than that, but that will do for now. And then taking that up there and bind that around that wet cotton wool. Now the next thing to use is two products that we have in the floral industry, and this is called Parafilm, or it's just a stretch. You can get it in this papery finish, which I actually like better than which papery waxy, and then there's this one here that you can use as well. I find that this one is better for binding, but look, it's either or. Once you get into it, you'll decide which one you like to use. Now you now need to have dry hands, and getting your piece of Parafilm, just rip that off there so that you've got a nice cleanish cut there. Taking your stem, take the Parafilm, and then just wind that around the wire and seal as you go the wet cotton in and around that stem, and take that all the way down. So you just, as you're doing it, you just pull and stretch and twist until you've got all of your workings covered. Now the wire that you can buy now is fantastic because it's coated, but when I started my training, this stuff used to rust like that. As soon as the moisture hit it, it would rust out. So having the plastic coating is quite good. Just to reiterate, 20 gauge is the best for anything that's got quite a sturdy stem, because once it's wired, it still needs to be able to support the flower. This could have probably done with another piece, but I think that once I get into my bouquet, that will be fine. Right, getting rid of that, wiping my hands again. Now, the next thing I'm going to use, the other thing I'm going to use is a couple of the fresh lilies. Now, that's going to give the fragrance, and it's also going to give a really lovely focal. So take that out, strip as many of those leaves as you can, because those leaves are going to get damaged once we start construction. The next thing I wanted to share, and I'll just get those out now, there's a lot involved in this. Now, these little pollen laden little bullets are not very nice, and I call them bullets because they're loaded, and once they get anywhere near a beautiful pristine white frock or your hands, they are going to cause this lovely, looks like nicotine staining on your fingers. Now, tip from me, I'll just get rid of those, on how to get rid of the pollen from the laden bullets is to just get nappy wipes. These are fantastic, these things, and that will remove that from your hands. So see the yellow that's just come off? That's how vicious they are, and they have no mercy when they get onto something, even your table surface, whatever, and you just use that and it gets rid of them. Fantastic. I'd like to know what's in these, because these go near baby's bottom, so it's a bit sort of like frightening, isn't it, thinking about that? Never mind, stop it, Astar. Right, I'll just dry my hands and get rid of this. Now, get all, you'll also need a cable tie. Right, get all of your flowers on your placement surface. Make sure it's all neat and tidy so that we can begin. To create the base in which to create our trailing bouquet, I really love this ivy. And when I was creating this, I wanted something that was spring green, almost like the beginning of the new growth in spring. I love the colour, it's crisp and it's a beautiful green, and it gives lift to anything that you're going to be working with. Also, it's a nice base, and I really love how it just all trails down. When you get it, it will come flat, so you have to get in there and you have to just manipulate that to get it to the way you fall. It also has a nice handle, so you've got something to hold on to start. The first to go in are going to be these beautiful lilacs. Now, I'm putting those into there, and then at the same time as I do that, I'm going to bend that down so that creates that beautiful form of, because it's a trailing bouquet, these look gorgeous on, if you want to appear taller and slimmer, well, I always want to look taller. This is fantastic type of bouquet because it gives that long length. Okay, from there, the next to go in is, and what I'm doing is I'm just poking those down through and supporting it with that stem there. Now, the next to go in is going to be slightly shorter than the first one. Now, you can make this as long as you want. You could take this all the way down if you wanted to, but you're going to be governed by the length of the stem, but I'll show you how to do binding to do extensions another day. Okay, the next to go in is going to be even shorter than the one that's just gone in. And I like to liken this to a bird in flight and a bird's wing. When you see the bird, you've got the main body of the bird, and way out there you've got these little fine feathers, and as the feathers come in towards the body of the bird, they step in and they get shorter and thicker as they get into the body. So that's what we're trying to do here. So you've got your long one that's a little bit long, a little bit shorter. The next is going to be shorter again. Now, because a bouquet is to be viewed from all around, I'm now going to bring this into here, stick that down into there, and I'm going to take that to the side And because it's got two little stems, I'm going to bring one up to there, one this way, and this one is going to come this way. Okay, so that can go down into there. And as I must just reiterate, when you start your bouquet, you can't let it down, and try and have all of these stems nice and straight as you go, because the straighter they are, the better your stem is going to be. The next to go into here is going to be the stephanotis. I need to get this into here now, and that's just a matter of poking that into there. You might have to release your hand just a little bit, but that's just going to go into there, and I'm just going to let that fall like that. So now I've got even longer, a longer length of bouquet. So that can go into there. This one can go into here, and when you're doing it, you just have to sort of like poke around until you get it to fit into that wee hole there. So that can go to there. So look how easy that was to create that beautiful flow. And look at the green of the ivy, the green and the white of the lilac, and then those beautiful little highly fragrant flowers of the stephanotis. Now, the next thing I want to put into here are, I've got one white rose, so I'm going to bring that into the middle, and that can go into there like that. So now I've filled in that center position there. So that's my sides done and my base, and now I've got my focal into the center. The next you go over there to go in is going to be the three. I've got three of these lovely, I've got four actually, of these lovely white, gorgeous, fluffy peonies. So one to there, one to there. This can go into here like so, and I'm taking these into the center near that rose, because that's where the bulk of my weight needs to be visually. So fine trails, and then the bulk is in the middle there. So I've got one there, and I'll bring the other up and over to here. Now, a little tip: when I'm doing bouquets, I work in front of a mirror, so that when I'm doing it, I can see that I'm nice and balanced, and if I need to just adjust, I can adjust as I go. Now, the next to go in is going to be the lily, so that can become my focal as well. I'm just going to bring that into, oh, look at that. How magic is that? And the last to go in is going to be this last little bit of stephanotis. That can just go into there and can sit up there. And now what's happening is the eye is hitting this beautiful stephanotis blooms down there, and it's coming into the center. If you need to, you can adjust that as you go. Now, looking at your stems, are we all neat and tidy? If you wanted to, it's not really necessary, but usually for a bouquet like this, I would bring some leaves around the back, and those leaves act like a nice support. To finish it off, just get your cable tie. Hold on, this is where you need to be a contortionist. Hold on, getting that through to the, I'll take that leaf off so that you can see what I'm doing. So that can just come off there. And then, because the fresh flowers are actually inside the bouquet, it's just the matter, you can pull that until it's quite firm. Cut that bit off there. Go back through, I'll put some links up of bouquets and handles and how I finish them off. But it's just now a matter of get your two hands together like this, and then just cut across just at the base of my hand there, and you'll have a perfectly balanced bouquet. You could wrap this with ribbon, you could bind it with some fabric from your frock, some tulle, whatever it is that you want to use to finish your design. And now that I'm looking into it, I'm thinking, oh yes, I'll just move that over, and that there can come out and rest on the top there. So how easy is that? That needs to be moved across to there as well, but never mind, that'll do for now. Easy, easy, easy bouquet. I have so enjoyed sharing this with you, and I look forward to seeing you again another day. Thanks for watching.